Welcome to this deep dive. We've gathered quite a bit of information today, and we're actually turning the focus onto podcasting itself. We're
hmm
looking at, the whole process, from the software you need, the nitty-gritty stuff, to how you actually build up a community around your show.
Exactly. Think of it as a behind-the-scenes look.
Yeah, basically a fast track to understanding what makes podcasts work, or, maybe even giving you the info you need if you're thinking about starting one yourself.
Right. And we've got some great sources. There's a piece on the 21 best podcast recording software, looking at tools for pros, beginners, all sorts.
Okay.
Then WP Beginner compares the 7 best podcast hosting options for 2025, which is, well, essential for getting your show online.
Crucial, yeah.
We also found this really practical Reddit guide on editing, no nonsense, as they call it, plus advice from Podium on building that community.
Ah, good.
And finally, some tips from Riverside on preparing for interviews, if you plan to have guests. So the goal is really to give you a solid overview of the current podcasting world.
Excellent. Okay, let's kick things off with the foundation recording software. That guide you mentioned highlights a few key options
It does.
for people starting out or maybe watching the budget. GarageBand is mentioned, but that's Apple only, right?
Correct, macOS and iOS. And then there's Audacity.
Which works pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, Windows, Mac, Linux. Both are free.
Okay.
GarageBand is often seen as more user-friendly, especially with its tutorials.
Okay.
Audacity, though, it's free, but it packed a punch. It has some surprisingly advanced tools. Noise reduction, EQ.
But maybe a steeper learning curve?
A little bit, yeah. It can take some time to get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But powerful for a free tool. You can get a decent sound without spending anything up front.
Right. Now, what about recording with remote guests? That changes things, doesn't it?
It does. The guide points to Riverside as a top pick overall for that.
Uh-huh.
But it also lists others like Zencaster, Squadcast, Podcastle, Clean Feed.
Podcastle sounds interesting. Accessible. AI tools mentioned, like transcription, silence removal.
Yeah, those features sound like huge time savers. Automatic transcription, cutting out dead air.
But there's a catch.
Well, the guide notes the AI isn't like foolproof. You still need to review it. And the free or cheaper plans have limits. Video recording time, transcription hours, things like that.
Okay, so something to be aware of. Good features, but check the limits. And I guess a stable internet connection is key for those platforms too.
Oh, absolutely vital, especially for quality recording with remote guests.
Makes sense. And for solo podcasters, maybe doing more like narrative work.
For that, the guide mentions the big industry standards. Pro Tools, Audition, Reaper, and also Hindenburg Pro.
Hindenburg, tell me about that one.
It was apparently designed with radio pros in mind. So very audio focused, multi-track recording, some AI for cleanup like leveling and noise reduction. It also has this clipboard tool for organizing clips easily.
Sounds robust for audio work.
Definitely. Easy publishing too. But no video support, no live streaming either, so that's a limitation for some.
Right, and if video is important or live streaming.
Then you're looking at the familiar names like Zoom and Skype. People know them. Guests find them easy.
But the quality can be variable.
Yeah, that's the trade-off mentioned. Recording quality, audio quality, it can be inconsistent. And local recording on Zoom specifically has some limitations depending on your plan and device.
So it really highlights the difference between general communication tools and dedicated podcast recording platforms.
Exactly. Those dedicated platforms, especially for remote recording, they usually prioritize getting high-quality audio, often recording each person on a separate track locally.
Which is huge for editing later.
Immense. Gives you so much more control.
Okay, and the guide also mentioned scheduling software, like Book Like a Boss.
Yeah, just a quick mention, but super helpful for organizing recording times with guests, avoiding back and forth emails.
Makes sense. Okay, so you've recorded your masterpiece. Where does it actually go? That brings us to hosting. The WP Beginner article covers this.
Right, and they explain why you need it. Basically, podcast audio files are big. Hosting them yourself on your regular website, it can really drag performance down.
Or even crash it, I suppose, if you get a lot of downloads.
Exactly. Podcast hosts are built specifically to handle storing and delivering those large media files without killing your site's speed or using up all your server resources.
Okay. So who do they recommend? PodBean came up as best overall?
Yeah, PodBean got high marks. They mentioned unlimited audio and video on the paid plans, which is pretty significant.
Wow, yeah.
Plus, it's supposed to be user-friendly, has tools to help you get listed in places like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, analytics, even live streaming.
Sounds like a strong contender. Any downsides mentioned?
The free plan has storage limits, which is pretty standard, and the main email integration is with MailChimp, so that might matter depending on what email service you use.
Got it. What about for beginners? Anyone stand out?
Buzzsprout.
Hmm.
They got the nod for being the most beginner-friendly, very easy platform to learn, apparently.
They've been around a while, haven't
Yeah, trusted name. They support the directories, give you stats, have a WordPress plugin, makes it easy to embed players on your site.
they? Okay. Limits on Buzzsprout.
The free plan hosts episodes for a limited time, like 90 days, I think, and the paid plans have monthly upload limits rather than total storage limits.
Right, different models. And for WordPress users specifically.
Blueberry was highlighted,
Yeah.
mainly because of their PowerPress plugin. Lets you manage pretty much everything right from your WordPress dashboard.
That sounds convenient if you live in WordPress.
Very. But
Yeah.
no free plan with Blueberry. And even the paid plans have storage caps.
So, trade-offs again. Convenience versus cost and limits.
Always. The article also mentioned Transistor good features, unlimited hosting, but download limits per plan.
Okay.
SoundCloud, which many know for music, also does podcast hosting. Simple, free plan has an upload limit. Easy embedding.
And Fusebox. Libsyn.
Fusebox was noted for its nice-looking web player. Libsyn is another veteran, reliable publishing, but again, upload limits on paid plans.
So, PodBean and Buzzsprout seem like the main recommendations overall.
Yeah, those are the two they lean towards as good starting points for many people.
And the key thing is, whichever host you pick, they give you that RSS feed URL, right?
Exactly. That's the magic link.
You take that URL, submit it to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever, and that's how people find and subscribe to your show.
Precisely. The host generates it, keeps it updated when you upload new episodes, and the directories pull from that feed. That's the core distribution mechanism.
Okay, got it. Recorded, hosted, now editing. The part that sometimes scares people. The Reddit guide had a 5-stage process.
Yeah, a really practical breakdown. Stage 1, initial content optimization.
Sounds fancy. What does it mean?
It's basically the first cleanup pass. Getting rid of the ums, ahs, awkward long pauses, just tightening it up. They reckon maybe 15 minutes work.
Okay, doable, making it sound smoother.
Exactly. Removing those filler words really helps the flow for the listener.
Then stage 2.
Content condensation. This is about respecting listener time. Cutting out stuff that's repetitive, or explanations that go on too long, or tangents that don't really add value.
Ah, the trimming part.
Right. And this is where they suggest transcription-based tools can be really helpful, especially for beginners. Seeing it as text makes it easier to spot redundancies.
That's a good tip. How long for this stage?
They estimated 1 to 2 hours, depending on the episode length and, well, how much rambling there was.
Fair enough. Stage 3.
Narrative flow optimization. This is more big picture stuff. Maybe reordering segments so the story makes more sense, improving transitions between topics, making sure it flows logically.
So structuring the episode properly.
Exactly. This takes more judgment. They figure maybe 3 to 4 hours.
Okay, getting more involved. What's stage 4?
Audio quality enhancement. This is the technical sound stuff. Noise reduction, leveling the volume so it's consistent, using EQ equalization.
EQ, like adjusting bass and treble.
Kind of, yeah. Balancing the frequencies in the voices so they sound clear and pleasant, not too boomy or too tinny. Also making sure background noise is minimized. This could be another 1 to 2 hours.
But they mentioned good recording practices help here.
Big time. A quiet room, a decent mic, getting good levels when you record. It can save you a lot of time in this stage.
Makes sense. Garbage in, garbage out kind of thing.
Pretty much.
Mm.
And finally, stage 5, final polish and enhancement. Adding your intro and outro music, maybe some sound effects if you use them, teasers for next time, and then that crucial final listen through.
The finishing touches. About another hour or 2 for that?
Yeah, roughly. So you can see editing is a process. It's not just hitting record and uploading.
Definitely not. What were the key takeaways from that Reddit guide?
Some good ones. Like, use automated tools to help, but don't just rely on them blindly. Your ears and judgment are key.
Right.
Focus on the content and the flow early on. Invest in good recording habits. It pays off later. Find a balance. You want it polished, but still natural sounding, not robotic.
Yeah, don't edit the life out of it.
Exactly. And the biggest one? Maybe. Learn by doing. You get better with practice. Don't expect perfection on day 1.
Good advice. Okay, so production is sorted, but what about connecting with listeners, building that community? The Podium article focused on this.
Yeah, and they stressed how valuable that community is for engagement, getting feedback, even promoting the show organically.
So where do you start?
First step, Really understand your audience. Who are they? What do they care about? Where do they hang out online? Knowing that informs everything else.
Right. Then you can tailor the content and the community efforts. What else? Show notes came up.
Big time. They said show notes are more than just a summary. Ask questions in them to spark discussion. Include calls to action, join our Facebook group, sign up for the newsletter.
And SEO benefits, too.
Yeah, well-written notes help search engines find your podcast, makes them more discoverable. So don't just slap a paragraph in there. Use them strategically.
Good point. And listener participation.
Crucial. Invite questions. Ask for topic ideas. Maybe feature listener comments or stories on the show. Make it feel like a conversation, not a broadcast.
Like a two-way street.
Exactly. When listeners feel heard and involved, they get much more invested. Some shows have, like, listener mailbag segments, that kind of thing.
And creating specific places for them to gather.
Yeah, find out where your audience is. Is it a Facebook group, a subreddit, Slack, maybe a forum on your website? Create a space where they can connect with you and each other.
Like a virtual clubhouse.
Kinda, yeah. It builds that sense of belonging. Plus, it's direct access for you to get feedback and ideas.
Smart. What about repurposing content?
Oh yeah, really efficient strategy. Turn transcripts into blog posts, make video clips from the audio for YouTube or social media, short, shareable sound bites for Twitter or Instagram.
Get more mileage out of each episode.
Exactly. And AI tools can help with this now, apparently. Summaries, social media post drafts, transcriptions, automating some of that work.
Interesting. What else for community build?
Engaging with other podcasters is one. Be a guest on their shows. Have them on yours. Cross-promotion helps everyone reach new listeners. Strategic partnerships.
Makes sense. Network effect.
Right. And fundamentally, it comes down to consistently delivering value. High-quality content, yes, but also useful show notes, active engagement in your community spaces, showing appreciation for listeners.
It's about building relationships, really.
That's a great way to put it. Fostering connections.
Okay, one last area. Guests. If you're doing interviews, the Riverside Guide had tips, starting with finding them.
Yeah, finding the right guests. Research other podcasts in your niche. Use social media strategically, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook groups. Look for experts, engaging speakers, even offline networking, or using guest directories like podcastguests.com.
So be proactive. Don't just wait for people to come to you.
Pretty much. Then the invitation itself. Personalize it.
Not just a generic template.
No, definitely not. You know who they are, why they'd be a good fit. Explain the value for them of being on your show. Be clear about what you're asking. Offer some credibility for your podcast. And follow up politely if you don't hear back.
Makes sense. Treat it professionally.
Absolutely. And once they say yes, preparation is key.
On your end or theirs?
Both, really. You need to research them thoroughly. Prepare good questions, but also prepare them. Schedule the time clearly, confirm details, give them technical info, especially for remote recording.
Like what software to use, mic recommendations.
Exactly. Make sure they know what to expect. Reassure them if they're nervous about the tech. The guide emphasized making it easy, highlighting platforms like Riverside that aim for user-friendliness for both host and guest.
So smooth out the process beforehand.
Yeah, clear communication and preparation avoids problems during the recording and makes for a much better conversation.
Okay, that's a lot of ground covered. Let's try and distill the key takeaways for you listening.
Right. So hopefully you've got a better handle now on the whole podcasting ecosystem. Software, hosting, editing, community, guests.
And remember, the best tool often depends on your situation, your budget, your technical comfort level, your specific goals.
Yeah, free options like Audacity and GarageBand. Perfectly good starting points. More advanced platforms like Riverside or Podcastle offer more features, maybe smoother workflows, but might have costs or limitations.
With hosting, think about storage needs, ease of use, maybe WordPress integration if that's important to you. PodBean and Buzzsprout came up as strong recommendations.
Editing, it's a multi-step process. Don't underestimate it. It can really lift the quality of your show. But balance polish with keeping it sounding natural.
And community isn't an afterthought. It requires active effort, engaging listeners, providing value beyond just the audio, creating connection points.
And for interviews, finding the right guests and preparing them well makes a huge difference to the final product. Clear communication is vital.
Absolutely. So you've got a clearer picture now, but maybe a final thought to leave you with.
Well, what strikes me is how accessible everything has become. The tools, the platforms, the barrier to entry for creating audio content is like incredibly low now.
Yeah, anyone can start a podcast, theoretically.
Exactly. But in this really crowded space, What makes a podcast truly stand out? What makes you subscribe and become a loyal listener?
Good question.
Is it just the super polished technical sound? Is it a totally unique format? Is it that strong sense of community we talked about? Or maybe some magic combination of all of those things?
Definitely something to think about. What really cuts through the noise in the audio world today?
Worth pondering for sure.